Hey, welcome back to the Backyard Professor Intellectual videos. I'm going to do another philosophy video. I'm going to try to do some outdoor shots if the traffic's not too bad. And we'll see what I come up with. It's a beautiful day, but it's cold and it's snowy. Philosophize on the idea that organized religion does not have the monopoly on spirituality. In the field of space and time is where we have our opposites. This is the field of relativity, which means relationship, relatedness. There is tremendous interconnectedness of everything. You see that everything goes together, which is what we mean by relativity. Relativity means relatedness. Fronts go with backs, tops go with bottoms, insides and outsides, solids and spaces, everything goes together. There's no absolute truth here. There is, however, in the realm which is beyond categories. But here in space-time, with we humans, we use language. Words cut apart, delineate, categorize, and separate. We must experience the absolute, not just talk about it. Words cannot get us to the absolute any more than reason can. So what is our theme here? We need to take heed and to be careful of those who claim certainty, especially certainty with truth. And why is that? Because it will stifle our own spiritual growth. Now that seems like it's a hard thing to say. Yes, it is. But just hear me out, please. The Buddha said, stop, stop, stop. Do not speak. So see, I'm not really taking his counsel seriously, am I? Here I am blabbing like crazy. The ultimate truth isn't even to think. Now there's something to think about, right? The Zen masters realized after long experience that words themselves cannot open up another person's mind. That has to be done from within that person, not from someone else telling them that they have the truth. The reason that religious apologists cannot have the truth is because they talk all the time about how to attain it. And what they will do is they will share various evidences, they will argue, they will continually and assault verbally others whom they argue with all the time over every kind of doctrine, history, or concept. They justify their choices of belief through reason, certainly, we know that, but reasoning is not about finding the truth. It's about justifying your choices. Did you ever think about it that way? That's kind of fascinating, isn't it? One's reasons to support one's emotional reactions is how one author put it. They reason, as most in any group does, actually, to confirm what it is that they already believe in, which strengthens their own confirmation bias. So because they are accountable to higher authority, they pursue socially strategic goals, such as guarding our reputations or convincing other people to support us or to support our team. The reality of what makes apologetics tick is that they research for reasons to convince themselves that they have made the right choice. So conscious reasoning is carried out largely for the purpose of persuasion rather than discovery, and our moral thinking is much more like a politician searching for votes than a scientist searching for truth. We are literally driven more by what people think, according to several new psychology tests, than by us possessing the truth. What others think, and especially leaders that have authority over us, that's what matters the most. The problem, as John Dewey reminds us, is adherence to any body of doctrines and dogmas based upon a specific authority. What this does is it signifies distrust in the power of our own experience to provide in its own ongoing movement the needed principles of belief and action. Faith in its newer sense signifies that experience itself is the sole authority. One's personal sensory activity has been used as a means of participating in the sacred and the attaining of the divine, which through our personal experience and our personal senses, the various different senses that we have, all incursions of the sacred and cosmic environment are our religious experience. Now, Joseph Campbell, the world's great mythologist, he realized after visiting gurus and studying the ancient myths and the enlightening concept that he found and discovered was that we are to say yay to life. Not because it's nice, or because we're lucky enough to have certain advantages in it, no. But because there is an innate affinity between the soul and that which it encounters in the field of space and time. Experience is the food of the soul. Another shocking conclusion based on the experience of thousands of Zen masters is that no authentic wisdom can be imitated. Each person on an individual basis must find it for himself because there really is no other way of putting it into words or of reaching it by any specific methods or directions. I can't tell you how to attain the truth for yourselves. You have the glorious, wonderful opportunity to figure that out yourself. And in so very many ancient myths and ceremonies from absolutely every corner of the globe, throughout the vast concourses of time, the initiation of each adolescent, one is present at a new cosmology. Everywhere, one meets with the mysteries of initiation, and everywhere they include the symbolism, I should say, of death and a new birth. In the early Jewish religious ceremonies of First Temple Judaism, that is Solomon's Temple, dating about 9 to 800 BC, the function of the sanctuary, Solomon's Temple, where the initiate has once come to be wedded to God's light and wisdom, scholarship has discovered it was through this marital fusion with man that God became incarnate in the midst of his people. The symbol of the ultimate union of God and man, the union of opposites, in earthly terms being a man and a woman. Of course, that makes a good deal of sense, right? Well, this was the ancient cherubim on the mercy seat in the ancient Jewish temple, which were known to have been in a sexual embrace as a male and a female cherubim, according to scholarly research. That is fantastically interesting, isn't it? An incredible symbolism of actual union. This godly union is not rejected or inaccessible to individuals either. Ralph Waldo Emerson describes a simple walk in the woods, or a night of watching the stars standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space. All mean egotism vanishes. It became a transparent eyeball. I am nothing, he says. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle of God. Albert Einstein noted that the most beautiful emotion we can experience is the mystical. It is the power of all true art and science, according to his wit and wisdom. He to whom this emotion is a stranger is as good as dead. To know that what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty, which all our dull faculties can comprehend only in their most primitive forms, he says. This knowledge, this feeling, this is what is at the center of true religiousness. So in this sense, and in this sense only, I belong to the ranks of devotedly religious men. That's how Einstein put it. Really fun, isn't it? A human being is a part of the whole. He experiences himself, his thoughts, his feelings, as something separated from the rest of it. But that experience is an illusion. It's kind of like an optical illusion of his consciousness, actually. This delusion is kind of like a prison for us. It restricts us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons who are near us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion and to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its true beauty. Charles Darwin, in his autobiography, shares a similar experience that Einstein talked about. He says, "In my journal I wrote that while standing in the midst of the grandeur of a Brazilian forest, it is not possible to give an adequate idea of the higher feelings of wonder, admiration, and devotion which fill and elevate the mind. I well remember my conviction that there is more in man than just the breath of his body." The idea, according to Haidt, of what we are seeing when people express themselves in this way is that in nature there is a portal between the realm of the profane and the realm of the sacred. It is actual. It's not mystical woo-woo, it's a fundamental human experience. What awe does is it shuts down the self, making you feel that you are simply a part of the whole. Goethe said the baffling was the wonderful, and the highest to which man can attain is wonder. And if the prime phenomenon makes him wonder, let him be content. Nothing higher can it give him, and nothing further should he seek, for behind it, here is the limit. Spirituality can come also within groups. There is a rather lot of evidence for this, actually. It can come for and in individuals as well. There is no one exclusive way or means to acquire the awe and the wonder of reality. There is something deep within us, a yearning to contact the spiritual core of existence. The key is exhilarating for one who has lost her group, as it were, for whatever reason. The person is not now crippled or wicked or apostate or evil. We get to enjoy the experience of being alive. It is the living of your life in openness to the unseen world which is truly the essence of a religion, and not merely the piety that comes in accepting or articulating what someone says you should believe. Spirituality is liberal for all, no matter who or what we are. To partake of, to bathe in, If that is the individual desire, then that is certainly what is available. One does not need permission from someone else in order to pursue religion and spirituality. One needs an openness to the experience. And this, when properly paid attention to, opens one up to transcendence. It can then be accomplished through groups or organized religions, for that matter, or it can be experienced, approached, and successfully achieved by the individual. Above all else, no one and no group can decide for a person whether or not they are worthy or good enough or not to be spiritual. That's palpably ludicrous, actually. That is entirely up to each man and woman for ourselves. Once the heart is allowed to pursue the spiritual, that is when the universe is the limit.